Hello, my name is Grant Lewis, and I did my public service announcement paper on a speech done by Donald Trump. Um, he was speaking on a matter of a school shooting that had recently happened in Florida. He gave this speech in February of this year, and after I got my feedback from my professor, some things were discussed in that I needed to correct some grammatical errors. And so when I went back into my paper, I fixed those grammar errors. And it was also said that I needed to go more in depth on what worked for Donald and what didn't. So I added a couple sentences towards the beginning of my paper, and they were mostly just kind of going back on how Donald needed to direct his attention towards the families, and he needed, or at least I thought that he needed to have a more direct approach and a direct plan of action to what he was going to do to prevent these school shootings and horrific accidents. And further down in my paper, I spoke more about what worked for Donald and what didn't. He seemed very serious when giving the speech, but he lacked the ability to show genuine empathy. And in my opinion, that's more important than the message that he was giving. The families that were affected by this need to see the president showing affection and showing that it bothered him more than just a political thing. It seemed to me that he had rehearsed his speech beforehand, and it wasn't coming from the heart. And I feel like the families would have rather have seen him speaking off his mind, and rather than looking down at a paper. Also, his presence. He was slouching during the speech. He kept looking down a lot. His eye contact was not with the crowd. All these things kind of made me feel like he wasn't involved in what was going on with this shooting. And then further on down into my paper, which kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning of it, he really needs to have a direct plan of action, and he needed to state that in his speech. He should have, in my opinion, been more engaging with the audience. It was very monotone, which is understanding for what the speech was on, but I think it would have been more interesting and more effective if he showed emotion and affection to the families who were affected.